I think are we live? Okay, we're live. Are we
Oh my God.
Hi everyone. Okay, cool. People are already putting, oh, we have someone from Berlin, Cayman Islands, Serbia.
That's pretty cool.
Definitely put in the chat where you're from because it's really cool to see how many people are kind of from all over.
This is so exciting.
Wow. I think we'll probably get started in like just maybe 30 seconds to a minute. But we're so excited to have you here. It makes us so happy seeing so many people active in the chat. And we're really excited for the weekend ahead. So.
Yep. I love someone said Florida, oof.
Oh no, someone from Chapel Hill. Hard heels.
Okay, Shion, I see you, Korea.
Wow.
Berlin, but originally from Venezuela. That's so cool. I'm in Chile right now.
Wow, we have a lot of UNC in the house.
We do have so much UNC in the house.
That's so funny.
Thanks for coming, though. Thanks for coming.
I think we can get started.
Yeah, I see people still joining, but I think that should be okay. But yeah, so I guess as an official kickoff, thank you so much for being here. We're so excited to start this weekend. We really can't wait to show you everything that we've planned with our team, and we also can't wait to see what you make. If I can move forward.
Oh, cool. So yeah, a little bit about just us, about HackDuke. If you've never heard of us, have no idea who we are. So brief introduction. My name is Akshara. I'm one of the co-directors along with Michelle. I'm currently a junior at Duke, pursuing a double major in computer science and stats.
Yeah, and I'm also a junior at Duke, and I'm in. Oh, for some reason,
Did your mic cut out or what happened?
Do you hear that? Oh.
No, you're good, I think.
My sound is doubling up. Okay, that's fine. Well, I'm also a junior at Duke, and I'm an ECECS major, basically.
Cool. And yeah, so Michelle and I have both been on HackDuke since our freshman year. We actually both joined our freshman fall, so it's been a really cool journey kind of working our way up to co-directing together. And so if you also still are not really sure what HackDuke is or have never heard of our hackathon, so HackDuke is actually a student organization at Duke, and we're really committed to just putting on large-scale events that basically focus on the intersections of tech and social good. So every year we put on Ideate, which is a designathon in the spring, and we put it on virtually this past summer in July. I know we have some participants who are also at Ideate, so it's really cool to see you all back here at HackDuke. And then every fall we put on Code for Good, which is our annual hackathon themed around social good. And so this is our first year actually putting it on virtually. It's definitely been a bumpy road kind of navigating the virtual event space, but we're just so excited to be able to bring HackDuke past just the RTP area. And like I said, it's so cool to see where everyone's from all over the world. And I know everyone's in really different time zones, so thanks for tuning in, however late or early it might be for you.
Cool. So if this is your first time at Code for Good, this is a little introduction to our tracks. As you probably already know, we do have a focus on social good, and our theme this year is impact. I won't go too specifically into these, as they may look a little bit self-explanatory, and then you can always read a bit more about what these 4 tracks entail, specifically both in our super comprehensive hacker guide with guiding questions and related events like talks and workshops that our awesome outreach team put together, and also on our website, hackduke.org. Hopefully you'll find these give you enough space and guidance to really think about these issues and play around with solutions. Who knows? Maybe you build your next Coursera here. Which takes me to the next topic, which is programming. We have a really packed schedule filled with technical and non-technical talks and workshops with some really great people that you can go to, all here from Hopin. Definitely feel free to take breaks as well. Feel free to go to as many or as little of these as you want. We do have a perk for the really, really engaged people. There's an attendance tracker form on the Hacker Guide. It's tucked in with the activities and info about the speakers. The top two people with the highest recorded attendance from that form will get an extra exclusive Code for Good pin along with their swag. For more info and for more specifics about all of these really fun activities we have planned, check the Hacker Guide.
And then, of course, HackDuke would really not be possible without the help and aid of all of our wonderful sponsors. And so kind of part of the reason that we do sponsors is to really connect our HackDuke participants with our sponsors. So we are hosting a virtual sponsor fair from 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern, and it will be available on Hopin under Expo, I believe. And definitely take some time to just kind of navigate Hopin if it's your first time using it, because I know as like pretty as it is, it can be a little bit confusing to use. And so definitely check out the Hacker Guide, which Keegan just posted in the chat, to view the schedule of like which speakers will be at specific time slots throughout 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern. And we really encourage you to just take a break from hacking, go meet some cool sponsors, and have an opportunity to network as well. And besides that, we do have other opportunities to engage with sponsors. Kind of the main way is through our sponsored prizes. And you can view all the information for prizes on DevPost, where they're kind of explained in a little bit more depth. But definitely just make sure to check out DevPost and take a look at, all the different sponsored prizes we have. I also noticed someone said in the chat, is that 2 to 5 today? And yes, thank you for the question. It's 2 to 5 p.m. today only. Cool. And then moving a little bit away from just activities and into like what does a submission look like for HackDuke? If this is your first time, I know it can be a little bit confusing. So we just kind of wanted to outline this a little bit more in case this is maybe your first hackathon, or I know every hackathon does it a little bit differently, but basically for us, so a valid submission is literally anything that you've built during the time of HackDuke that's focused on one of our 4 tracks. So kind of the only guidelines are that your submission must have some aspect of code to it. It doesn't have to be like the next Facebook, or just like, you don't have to have like thousands of lines of code written, but we just want you to kind of demonstrate that you're actually like coding a little bit during this hackathon. So that just means like, it can't just be like a Figma prototype or like sketched out wireframes or an idea. Like it has to be a little bit tangible. And then if you look on this for kind of what the judging criteria are, one of them is just like feasibility and how your how well your hack actually works in like deployment. So that's just something to keep in mind, especially if you're aiming for a prize. And again, our hackathon, like Michelle said, is themed around 4 different tracks. So basically you have to be building something that's maybe a problem you want to solve, or just some really cool kind of problem space inside of one of the 4 tracks. And one question that we definitely get a lot is like, what happens if my hack maybe like fits into multiple tracks? And for that, if you do want to be considered for judging, you just kind of have to pick the best track that works, that you think is maybe the best fit for what your project is. So if you're having any trouble like figuring that out, definitely feel free to ask us in the help channel or talk to a mentor about it as well, because they'll be able to kind of help you flesh that out. And then a couple more rules about your submissions. So if your submission kind of violates any of the following, then it won't be considered for judging. And we just really want to make this clear now so that you kind of know all the rules and guidelines and aren't blindsided when it comes to judging. So one of the biggest kind of rules is that you can only have begun coding at the beginning of HackDuke, which is 10 a.m. Eastern today. You can't like take a project that you've already like half worked on and kind of finish it off at HackDuke. We just kind of do this to create an even playing field for everyone. And you can't submit a project from a previous hackathon, can't submit a project you began working on. I think all of these are pretty self-explanatory, but just to reiterate again, like you can only submit to 1 track. When you submit your project on DevPost, you get to basically choose the prize that you want to be considered for. So you'll only really be able to choose one track prize that you want to be considered for judging. So, and then the last thing kind of related to submissions themselves are every single member of your team must be, first of all, registered for Code for Good, and then also registered and added as a team member on your dev post submission. And so a little bit more clarity too with submissions and judging. So something that we noticed with Ideate was we kind of just had one deadline, and I think it was like maybe 4 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, and a lot of people asked to like extend their deadlines or realize like, oh, we like had a typo, is it okay for us to edit it? So we kind of just want to give you a little window of time to be able to make edits. So basically the two main times that you need to think of when considering like deadlines for HackDuke are, I'd say like the main deadline is 3:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow on Sunday. So basically by this time, you have to have submitted something to DevPost to be considered for judging and prizes. So we understand that this doesn't have to be like your final submission. We're not kind of judging this submission or this version, but you have to have something submitted so that we have an idea of how many projects there are and we can start planning that during this 30-minute window. And then we're giving you 30 minutes to be able to make any edits you need to your submission before we close editing and begin judging at 4 p.m. Eastern. And we really want to emphasize that both of those deadlines are really strict. So if you don't have anything on DevPost by 3:30 p.m., you won't be considered for judging and prizes, and any edits you make to DevPost past 4 p.m. Eastern just won't be considered. So just please plan ahead and allocate enough time to account for any potential difficulties, technical difficulties that you might have with your submission. Kind of the last thing I'll say before we move on are, in lieu of having kind of a live judging system, we are doing video submissions. So all hackers must submit a video, which is we're capping it at about 3 minutes, explaining your project. So in this video, you just kind of want to like explain the purpose, overview, like large problem behind your project, talk about development, get a little bit into the nitty gritty of the technical work you did, and then also just maybe detail any further work or expansion as you see fit. And then we have like 2 short questions on DevPost that you have to submit, which is just describe the problem your solution addresses and also why did you pick the solution. And the very last thing I'll say is you also just have to link your public repo, assuming that everyone uses Git. So these are all just kind of things to keep in mind when allocating time for your project. Just make sure that you've allocated enough time to answer these really quick questions to upload your video. And yeah, definitely feel free to let us know if you have any questions. As kind of we've said in the past, all of this is available on our hacker guide. So just make sure that you're taking a look at that. But yeah.
Cool. And now we would love to have our MLH rep introduce himself and talk a bit more about the work that MLH has been doing this hackathon, just like our students. So I can actually stop screen sharing right now.
Cool. How's it going, everybody? All right, give me 1 second here, gamers. I'm just going to figure out how to share this thing here. We're going to click this button, I think. Nope, not that one. This one. Hell yeah, we're in there. Okay. Cool. Can you see this? We're all looking good? If I do this, it advances. Looks good? Awesome. Sick. Okay, everybody, welcome to Code for Good. I'm super stoked to be here. My name is JP. I've been working at MLH for a little over 5 years at this point, so roughly since the dawn of time, since dinosaurs roamed the earth. I am also not here alone from MLH. I am joined by 4 other MLHers, Mara, Danielle, Amy, and Chris. If you have any questions whatsoever this weekend about anything MLH is doing or just anything about going on with the hackathon, do not hesitate to reach out to us. We are here to help. We're even broken out to our own little section on Discord for your convenience for you to add us for anything that you want to know. I'm about to cover a lot of information over the course of this next 5 minutes or so. Everything I'm about to say is up at hack.mlh.io in pretty HTML format. So if at any point you just need a refresher on what we're bringing to you this weekend, hop into hack.mlh.io. It's got everything you need, and that's the one thing I really want you to remember. As my 2 awesome co-hosts here have said, everything is also up on their hacker guide this weekend. You can definitely look at it. They put a ton of work into it. It's very pretty looking, and it's everything that you need to have a successful weekend at HackDuke/Code for Good. So I know for a lot of you, this is probably your first hackathon. So you may be wondering, what the heck is Major League Hacking? Well, we are the global hacker community. It is our mission to empower hackers. And we help empower over 135,000 hackers just like you every single year all around the world. That's through events like this one, workshops, lots of other things to help you learn awesome technical skills. And just by being here, you're actually earning points for your school in our season-long contest. And the best way to earn more points is to grab your friends and bring them along to another MLH event another weekend from now. So we're doing a whole lot of stuff this weekend to kind of give you a quick rundown on it. Later today, we're doing 2 mini events. If you need a break from hacking around 6 p.m., we're running the U.S. Air Force Cybersecurity Challenges as well as the MS Paint with Bob Ross mini event. These are both going to be really, really fun. Highly encourage you to jump on in and paint some awesome trees and learn some really quick cybersecurity skills. Both of these are very low tech, require zero coding knowledge or frankly zero thought. These are just fun things to do. We're also giving out our 2021 season mascot masks. These have our awesome LED elephant on them. Just by being here, you're going to get these in the mail from us after the event, so definitely keep a lookout for those. Thanks to Capital One for helping us ship these out. And from our friends at GitHub, we're giving you 2 different things this weekend. One, we're doing our Draw an Octocat, Win an Octocat contest. Draw your best interpretation of their wonderful Octocat mascot and send it over at this information. Don't worry about memorizing it. I'm going to drop in the Discord right after. Also with GitHub, we have the GitHub Student Developer Pack. If you're looking to get your hands dirty with a lot of really high-grade enterprise-level software, this has loads of free credits and free funding for a ton of different tools. Definitely recommend you check it out if you're a student. And on top of that, that's not it. We got a lot more resources for you to work with. So everybody here gets a free .tech, .space, or .online domain from our friends at domain.com. Just use the weekend code SEASONSGreetings, that's all one word in all caps, to redeem that awesome domain this weekend. And if you're looking for something to host it on this weekend, Google Cloud has got you covered with up to $100 of Google Cloud credits. If you run through all of those credits, hit me up. I'll give you a refill code. If you go to Future Hackathon, you can get even more credits on the same account by using these refill codes. And if you make an awesome project using Google Cloud this weekend that's related to COVID-19, you're eligible for up to $5,000 of additional funding. But separately, we're also running a prize category for them this weekend. The best project will win a prize using Google Cloud. 2 projects this weekend will be eligible to win the Earn a Sweet Hardware Prize category from DigiKey. So if you're using hardware this weekend, even if it's emulated technology, I recognize with the current situation it's pretty difficult to get your hands on physical hardware. So either emulated or real hardware technology is eligible for this prize category. So if you've never worked on hardware before, highly recommend you do so. And we're going to be picking 2 winners again for this prize category, which is super exciting. DataStax Astra is here this weekend to help you get started with databases. If you've never used them before, it doesn't even take a credit card to sign up. Super easy. It's one of the easiest ways to get up and running with data. Highly recommend you check them out this weekend. We've also got a bunch of starter kits if you're looking for a place to get started. So these are meant to be used as boilerplate level code for you to add on your own code on top of. If this is your first hackathon, I highly recommend checking it out just to see what the file structures look like for these little starter kits that we've made. As a quick recap, we're running 5 different prize categories this weekend. I do want to point out that our Google Cloud prize is a little bit different this weekend than it has been in previous ones. If you're a US hacker, you're going to get a backpack full of awesome Google swag. If you're an international hacker, you're going to win a 1-hour mentorship session with a super high-level Google engineer, which is super exciting. But just keep in mind that those 2 prizes are different depending on where you are. But other than that, these are all the prizes we're doing. Sounds good? Everybody here, regardless of whether or not you win a prize, is going to be getting an awesome iDownload stickers. These are custom for every event. We're going to be designing a really cool one just for Code for Good. These are like Pokemon cards. Collect them, battle them. They've all got different stats if you write them down on them with a Sharpie, I guess, because they don't actually. But you can win an awesome iDownload sticker just by submitting this weekend. I highly encourage everybody to submit. We've also got the MLH Career Lab. If you're looking for companies, we're looking to hire hackers just like yourselves. These are the companies to look out for. We've got information up on our website if you're looking for more on them. On a serious note, though, folks, everybody here is in agreement to the MLH Code of Conduct by being here. The TLDR of our Code of Conduct is harassment and abuse are never tolerated. I highly recommend you read through it briefly if you have not yet. It is 1 page. It is not long, I promise. If anything this weekend makes you feel even a little bit uncomfortable, please reach out to me or any of the other MLHers or any of the organizers this weekend, and we will talk you through it and get you all situated. So even if it seems pretty small, don't hesitate to reach out to us. It's why we're here. We're here to make sure everyone has a great time. And on that note, thank you to all of our partners this weekend for making all of this possible, and I hope you all make something awesome this weekend. And that's going to be it from me, and I'm going to bat it back to my 2 wonderful co-hosts here.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Cool. Thank you so much. Let me get back to sharing screen. Are we there? Are we there? Am I sharing screen? Can you see this?
Yeah. Okay, cool. It just came up.
Yeah? Okay, cool. Yeah, so basically, we just want to take this moment here to thank everyone else we've worked with to put this together, to our team, to our speakers, to all of our sponsors, and all of you. This wouldn't be possible without any of you, and we hope that you get to really know each other over this weekend and build some really great things. We can't wait to see what you do.
Cool. And with that said, I'm so excited to present our amazing keynote speaker, Jeff Maggioncalda. I'll give a really short bio and then hand it completely over to him. So Jeff Maggioncalda joined Coursera as CEO in June 2017. I'm sure everyone's pretty aware of Coursera, but Coursera is a leading online learning platform for higher education, where over 76 million learners from around the world come to learn skills of the future. And as one of our tracks is education, Coursera is just truly the perfect example of how anyone, anywhere can really just transform their life by accessing the world's best learning experiences online. And Jeff previously served for 18 years as the founding CEO at Financial Engines, Inc., a company co-founded by economist and Nobel Prize winner William Sharpe. He holds an MBA from the Stanford Graduate School of Business and a bachelor's degree in economics and English from Stanford University. And in his free time, Jeff is a lifelong learner and proud dad and enjoys studying music theory and spending time with his wife and 3 daughters. So we are so excited to welcome you to HackDuke, Jeff, and we'll let you take it over from here.
Thank you very much. And it's wonderful to be here. I don't think I yet have screen sharing capabilities. Let me just see if I can. Oh, there, I can do it now.
Perfect.
I've got a little deck I'd like to share with you. First, I just want to say I love Duke. I met my wife when we were together at Stanford. I was a young guy and I was a freshman. She was a grad student. So that was, I was kind of a cool guy. And she got her PhD at Duke. So I actually spent quite a bit of time out at Duke back in the late 80s. And she was at the Duke Lemur Center. And then, delightfully, my daughter decided to go to Duke, Lindsay Maggioncalda. And so Lindsay is majoring in computer science. I know that she did the HackDuke a couple of years ago. I think she did a food security project where you could share food points, and it was really cool. So anyway, love what you guys are doing. Love Duke, and it's really a pleasure to be here. In terms of the talk that I'm planning to give here, let me just see if I can get my screen share going. Making sure that this is working. You guys see that okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. I thought what I'd talk a little bit about is online learning. Now, I've obviously been a CEO for a long time and be happy to talk about anything in Q&A, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to talk a little bit about Coursera and what we're seeing with COVID. And even though COVID right now is having a tremendously disparate impact on people, I think, and I think there's a real promise here that there's a possibility that the world post-COVID might be a more fair and just world because of what's happened during COVID. Now, it'll take a lot of work, but let me explain how that might be the case. So if you look at the newspapers and you look at data these days, it's pretty clear that there has been growing inequality in the US and in many countries around the world. And in the US certainly, and also in other countries, COVID has really exacerbated that inequality. Even before COVID, we saw that there is a real risk to jobs due to technology, due to automation. I mean, I'm sure that a lot of the work that you guys are doing has to do with automating things and with machine learning, predicting things. And when you put together automation and prediction, you can basically automate many tasks that are either repeatable and or predictable. And when you look at what this is going to do to jobs, and McKinsey just did a study in 2018 that kind of laid this out, you see there are certain kinds of jobs that are much more at risk because of automation, and there are certain people more at risk because of the risk of automation. So on the x-axis here is the risk of automation. The y-axis is the typical income level of that job. The size of the bubble is the number of jobs in the US, and the color of the bubble is the typical education level for people who hold that job. And you can see what really jumps out, right? These really big red circles in the lower right. You also see these other circles, these blue circles in the upper left. What that really shows is tens of millions of jobs that are low-paying jobs that are held by people with very little education, people like cashiers and retail assistants and freight movers, truck drivers, personal care aides, who don't have high education levels. They are in these jobs that are at high risk of automation. And unless they can get reskilled, they're going to be facing fewer rather than more economic opportunities. On the other hand, you look at these blue bubbles, and these are very high paid people. They mostly have college degrees, and their jobs are not very at risk to automation, largely because their jobs are less predictable and repeatable. Now, World Economic Forum and McKinsey and many acknowledge that there's going to be a lot of jobs created because of technology. Microsoft estimates that today there's about 50 million digital jobs. They believe in the next 5 years, 149 million new digital jobs will be created. But what the World Economic Forum is saying is that it is very possible that the jobs destroyed will be fewer than the jobs created. And the one thing that's really obvious is that unless people who are in those jobs that are getting automated can be reskilled, they won't be able to get the jobs that are created because of the digital economy. So reskilling people so that they can move from their jobs which are more at risk of automation to jobs that are the jobs of the future is going to be really, really important. And we have seen this trend over a long period of time with automation, but it's really been exacerbated in the era of COVID-19. So what this chart shows you, this was just in the Wall Street Journal fairly recently, it shows you that less educated workers have been hardest hit by COVID-19. That dark blue line there, the one that goes to a minus 30% employment rate, a drop of employment of 30%, are with those with less than a high school degree. You can see folks with bachelor's degrees, there was a dip. It's almost back. And if you look at people with bachelor's degrees in STEM fields with digital jobs, there's been very little impact on digital workers. And so COVID is already accentuating something that was happening for quite some time. Now, at a global level, the International Labor Organization says that about 300 million jobs are at risk due to COVID. And the University of Chicago just did a study that shows that a lot of these jobs that are being lost during COVID are permanently going to be gone. Perhaps up to 40% will not come back. And one of the reasons they might not come back is that companies will take this opportunity to digitize and automate those jobs. So it's really an imperative that we recognize that there's been trends in growing inequality for a long period of time. Those have been accelerated due to COVID. But the Secretary General of the United Nations says, although we've seen this tragedy, it represents as well an opportunity to build back a more equal and sustainable world. And what he says, and what the World Economic Forum talks about, is that there are two pillars that will be associated with that, education and work. And what I really believe is that technology is the thing that will allow us to really change the way we educate people, and importantly, also change the way that people work. And because technology can unlock two things, online learning and remote working, we might finally have the promise of truly letting somebody anywhere at any time learn whatever skills they need to, and without leaving their community, even if there are no jobs in their community, have access to a global set of job opportunities that they can do remotely if those are entry-level digital jobs that can be remote jobs. And that promise of learning skills from anywhere and working from anywhere will create the potential for many, many people to get job opportunities that otherwise they might not have. UNESCO reported in April of 2020 that 1.6 billion students around the world had their schools closed. 90% of every single student in the world had their schools closed. There were total school closures in 191 countries. And what we were seeing there was a world where the schools had closed, but almost nobody had any kind of formal online program. Even in the US in 2018, fewer than 50% had no formal online programs. And globally, it's even a much smaller number. And when you look at the percentage of professors who'd ever taught online, it was very small. And that's, again, in the US. So for the most part, higher education has not been a very dynamic, agile, responsive kind of industry. And what COVID has done is it has shocked the industry into embracing online learning and online teaching. And so I think it's really been an incredible experiment on the campus side to have people teach and learn online. And in the job side, having companies have to have remote working. And at Coursera, we all moved to remote work on March 6th. And we have completely changed our entire HR strategy. So we're not going to require people to come back to the office anymore, ever again. And we've already started hiring in many places around the world where we don't have an office and we never would have hired before. So it's been an amazing opportunity. And one of our favorite partners, which is Duke, and Matthew Raskoff, says that even though all those schools had closed, many individuals came to Coursera and institutions came to Coursera. And I have to throw a big prop to Duke and to Matthew Raskoff. Notably, in January, like January 27th, I got a call from Matthew. And we have a product at Coursera called Coursera for Campus. And basically, it's like 4,000 courses that can be licensed by colleges and universities to use it to teach their students online. And Matthew called and he said, hey, we're in a bit of a bind here. Duke has a joint venture with Wuhan University in China at this city called Kunshan, and it's been quarantined, and we need to move the entire program online. We have no curriculum. We'd like to use Coursera for Campus for free. And so we said, great. We got our partners together. We said, hey, can we help out Duke? They said, sure, let's do it. So we gave all the students and all the faculty in January, we gave them free access to Coursera for Campus. And then when the virus spread, we basically launched a program called the Campus Response Initiative and said any college or university in the world can use Coursera for Campus for free through September just to finish up the spring semester and get their plans together. We had 30 universities using Coursera for Campus in February. In the next 7 months, we've had 3,700 universities start using it, 2.4 million students, and we're now like at 22 million course enrollments. So the pandemic, the school closures, the lack of online content around the world, and the availability of Coursera for Campus for free has been a wonderful experiment for us and for higher education globally to help teachers and students start jumping into online learning. And it's not really only just the schools that have done it. Individuals have come to Coursera in massive numbers. So our numbers are up like 500% over the last year. We saw huge spikes as country after country got locked down. Individuals came to Coursera to continue their learning. And so we've seen lots of tailwinds. We're up to about 70 million new enrollments this year and about 75 million learners on Coursera. Largely driven by the tailwinds that came from COVID. So that's a little bit about the online part. And I really do believe that we are at the frontier now where higher education is now finally going through digital transformation. I mean, industry after industry have done it. Now it's time for higher education. The tools are there, the platform is there, the content is there. I think we'll be able to move fairly rapidly to a world where more people, more students get access to very high quality courses from universities like Duke and other partners on Coursera. Now switching over to the promise of remote work. So first of all, remote work is here to stay, and not every company is going to continue to do it, but I do believe that most will. And those that don't will probably be forced to, because if they don't offer the ability to have flexible work, the best talent will go to those companies that do offer such flexibility. And when you look at the study, this is from McKinsey in June, you find that CEOs, he certainly put me in that camp, they are absolutely feeling like there's high productivity. It's not perfect, but there's some things that we're missing in terms of sort of creativity. Collaboration is a little bit harder to do when you're all remote, but remote work is going really well at Coursera. It's been amazing. A lot of employees said that they enjoy it. 80% in this survey. And when we do, and it was just in the Wall Street Journal again yesterday, they did a survey. Like 75% of people say, I'd like to go into the office maybe once or twice a week, but I don't want to go to the office 5 days a week and commute for an hour each way and all that kind of stuff. And so people are feeling have more flexibility. They'd like to go have social interactions at work every now and again. But for the most part, productivity is up. Real estate costs are going down. We're seeing people move out of the Bay Area. We're seeing companies move out of the Bay Area. It's going to equalize real estate prices commercially. It's going to equalize, when I say equalize, it will create greater equalization of residential real estate. We see our workers in Coursera moving all around the country to find places they can afford to buy a home or where they'd like to live. Some of them are sort of nomadic workers. They're just kind of driving around the country and working from wherever they are. Many of our employees are leaving and going to different countries. So it's really pretty amazing the kind of flexibility that is available. And I think you all are really fortunate. I mean, there's something very unfortunate about living through the pandemic at this stage in your academic career. But I'll tell you, you're going to be entering a workforce that it's a whole new deal. And you will be the pioneers of a whole new and I think permanent era of the way the world works. And I think that's pretty exciting. Now, I mentioned not every company will do this, and not every job can be done remotely. So University of Chicago did the study in June of 2020. They looked at income, ability to work from home. Guess what? The higher paid digital jobs that are most in demand are the ones that are more likely to be done remotely. There's many other jobs that are in light gray that are not so easily able to be done remotely. But what's kind of neat about this is the same kinds of jobs that can be done remotely. These are generally digital jobs. You can learn those digital jobs and skills remotely as well. So if we can upskill people, if we can train them in business and finance, in computer science, mathematics, physics, architecture, engineering, if you could train them online digitally, there will be remote jobs that are available for large populations of people. This is the numbers that I mentioned that Microsoft had shared. There are about 40 million digital jobs today, but they see this growing dramatically. You can see that among the computer scientists out there, 100 million new computer science jobs will be opening up. But we see massive demand on Coursera for computer science. So you all, and my daughter Lou as well, you're in the right place. I mean, computer science is a great skill to have. What we look for at Coursera are computer scientists who also have a broad array of skills beyond just computer science. So I love like liberal arts and computer science or mathematics or data science, statistics, a blend of soft skills and liberal arts as well as data and computer science skills. I think those are going to be the top talents. Now, what we've been doing is pretty awesome. We work with 150 universities and a number of industry partners. This is Google and AWS and IBM and others. And they're starting to collaborate. Industry and universities are starting to collaborate. So we launched with Google a program in 2018 that we think is going to redefine the way that people get educated and enter the workforce. Google created an IT support professional certificate. They did it for themselves because they needed more IT support people. They realized that's a great digital entry-level job that doesn't require a college degree, and it doesn't require any background in computers, and you can learn those skills fully online in less than a year. So they figured out how to train people at Google. And then once they figured out how to make that work, they called us and said, we want to put this program on Coursera so that anybody can learn how to become an IT support professional. So since launching this thing, we've had now over 400,000 enrollments in the Google IT Cert. Over 60% of them do not have a college degree. Almost 60% identify as Black, Latino, Latina, female, or veteran, and almost half report earnings of less than $30,000 a year. And then what we do is we work with other workforce partners like Goodwill, community colleges, Merit America, who will often provide hands-on coaching and mentorship to people who are, maybe not so comfortable going through an online training program without having a coach or a mentor. And so Coursera doesn't provide the coaching, but we do work with partners who can actually do face-to-face coaching for people in these programs. Now, we've also worked with our company partners to figure out who needs to hire IT support people. We now have a hiring network of more than 65 companies who actually interview graduates of this Google IT program. And some of our college partners actually are now awarding academic credit for people who finished the Google IT cert. So the University of London has an online Bachelor's of Computer Science degree on Coursera. It's a 3-year degree because it's British. And they actually award credit and let you skip a couple classes in the Bachelor's of Computer Science program if you finished the Google IT cert. And so what you see is a lot of people coming in before they spend a ton of money in 4 years out of their life. They'll start with a sort of an industry-based professional certificate as an on-ramp to a good paying job. And then once they're in a good job, maybe they're doing it remotely, but their income is going to be probably much higher than that, $35,000, $30,000 that they said they were making. Once they're working, they can still get a college degree without having to quit their job, without having to move their family. So it really opens up not only good jobs, but it also opens up new educational opportunities that are more accessible and more affordable. So we launched this with Google in 2018, and we really focused on IT support. That's a high demand entry-level digital job. We now have 3 professional certificates with IBM: entry-level data science, entry-level cybersecurity analyst, entry-level data analyst. We just launched a Facebook social media marketers professional certificate for an entry-level marketing position. All of these are no college degree, no background in the field. We just launched a Salesforce sales development representative certificate. So this is really the training ground for account executives, which are salespeople. Google just announced 3 more gateway certificates: data analyst, project management, and UX UI design. So if someone wants to go in design and they don't have a college degree or any background in design, they can take this UX designer professional certificate and get into an entry-level UX job. And then we recently announced with Intuit a digital bookkeeper's professional degree. If someone wants to go into accounting or finance and doesn't have a college degree or any background, they can do that. So soon we're going to have a nice broad portfolio. This portfolio of entry-level professional certificates will probably double from what you see on the screen here within 12 months. We've had a lot of interest from technology companies who want to provide these digital entry-level on-ramps to the jobs of the future. And we think this is going to be a wonderful way to create more equity and inclusion in the workplace, give people job opportunities, and also provide an on-ramp to more education. So my basic thesis is that the combined force of online learning, which allows anyone anywhere to learn the skills of tomorrow, plus remote work, which brings the job opportunities to where people are, even if there are not adequate job opportunities in their own community. These 2 things can really help drive greater social equity. And we're really excited at Coursera to want to do our part. And I have to put a plug in. If any of you want to work at Coursera, you can email me at jeff@coursera.org. We're hiring like crazy. And we have some great Dukies who are now at Coursera. We partner with the DTech program, and we've hired a number of folks. And Duke students are awesome employees, and we'd love to have more. So with that, I'll stop my screen share and take any questions in the time that remains.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much, Jeff. That was such an interesting and really, really relevant presentation. And yeah, for everyone, feel free to put your questions in the chat. And yeah, I think we'll probably have about maybe 10 minutes or so to answer questions. So
great.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm looking at the chat one that says stage. Is that the right chat stream to be looking at?
Yes.
All right. So from Charlotte, shall I just take these myself, or do you guys want to moderate it?
You can go ahead and take them.
Yeah. All right. Charlotte, thank you for the question. What do you think will be the effect of online learning on the cost of tuition? It will come down. It will come down. Now, when we think about higher education, first of all, there's a lot of different people having lots of different educational experiences in higher education. I mean, Duke is a very special place, but there's a lot of people at community colleges, state colleges, other public schools who don't have actually a residential experience at all. But especially in a time post-COVID, I think schools are realizing that they kind of sell three things. They sell learning, like you're learning new things. They sell a credential that says, it's called a degree, that says I got in and I completed a certain course of study and got good enough grades to get a major in whatever. And Duke attests that this person, got into our school and did well enough in the courses to get this degree in computer science. And then many of them also provide a residential experience where in these days, not so much, but it'll be back. I think that for the top schools that offer all three, and there's the credentials worth a lot, and there's really good professors in learning and a really stimulating on-campus experience, I don't know that tuition is going to change that much because it's expensive to have the kinds of professor opportunities, housing, and all the things that are offered. But increasingly what's happening is universities are offering, of course, even elites who do it on campus, they're also offering online degrees. And so University of Pennsylvania, Ivy League school, one of our partners, they have a master's in computers and information technology available on Coursera. We now have 25 degrees that universities offer on Coursera. Generally speaking, they're about half the price. They're not always, but they're about half the price of what the same degree would be on campus. And it really is the same professors, the same TAs, you get the same diploma, you have to go through an admissions process. It's a real degree. And when you finish it, you get a diploma, you're an alum. You don't put on your LinkedIn, you just say, I got a degree from University of Pennsylvania. It's not like a Coursera degree or anything. It was just delivered on Coursera. And so I do think the accessibility and affordability will go way up and people will be able to choose. Do I want to do a degree on campus or do I want to do a degree online? And my expectation is that the range and variety of online degrees will surpass the range and variety of on-campus degrees. And the kinds of people who can get a degree are going to be much, much broader. Because especially if you're a little bit older, you have family, you have a job, moving yourself back to a campus and quitting your job is very expensive. So there's a lot of people that would like to get a degree, but they just can't afford to. And being able to do it online, less expensively, without having to quit your job and move your family is going to make degrees a lot more attractive for a lot more people. All right, let's see. Roger, what were you doing as an undergrad and early on in your career to get ahead? Well, when I started at Stanford, it was in 1987. So I'm a little bit of an old person. And I loved English. I loved English. And so I was an English major. And my dad, who I love and has a lot of wisdom, and he's really helped me in my life, he goes, hey, Jeff, I'm not paying for Stanford if you get an English degree. It's just, he's like, it's not worth my money. So I didn't argue with him. I'm like, hey, if you're paying, I'm not going to argue. I decided to double major in English and quantitative economics. And so they didn't call it data science back then. I guess technically there wasn't enough kind of data to really do super fancy things, but we learned econometrics and statistics and finance and all that kind of stuff. So I did that. And then I worked at a litigation consulting firm. I thought about getting a JD MBA, but realized that at least for, litigation wasn't for me. And then I went back to the Stanford Business School and worked at McKinsey a little bit. And then when I was about to go to McKinsey after I finished business school, I got an opportunity with a professor at Stanford, a Nobel Prize winner named Bill Sharpe, who is in finance. And he said, hey, Jeff, would you like to write a business plan and start a company with me and another professor over at the law school? And I was 27 years old, and I'd already accepted the job at McKinsey. But I thought, this is just too good of an opportunity. So that's when I started at Financial Engines. I was a CEO there for 18 years, ended up after a lot of twists and turns and very trying times. It's hard to be an entrepreneur. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. You don't always succeed. It could be a pretty lonely job. And sometimes it takes a long time to make it work. And sometimes it doesn't work, it just fails. But it took about it took 14 years. Then we went public. We finally got product market fit. And we went from $30 million to now it's the biggest registered investment advisor in the country, maybe in the world. And we went public, and then I stepped down after 18 years and took some time off with my wife, and we traveled around. And then about 3.5 years ago, I became the CEO of Coursera, and it's been thrilling. What did I do to get ahead? Honestly, I was never a get ahead kind of person. I'm super curious. I love to learn. I love to learn about anything. I love to learn about, how to sail. I love to learn about music. I love to learn about like pretty much the education or finance or computer science. I just did things I really was interested in. I always tried my best. So every single class I tried to enjoy, no matter what it was, even all my distribution requirements. I always tried to get A's just because I like to really press myself to perform well. And I didn't think a whole lot about like, what's my long-term plan? I just thought, what do I enjoy doing? And whatever I'm doing, I'm going to try to do my absolute best. I'm going to work hard and really concentrate on it and try to do my best. And so that's how that happened. Oh, there's a lot in here. So maybe I can ask you guys, maybe you could sort of read through and pick some of the ones that you think might be best for the audience, because I'm not going to get to all these, obviously, and I'm not sure which ones would be the best ones to pick. So I'm going to see if you guys can help me curate some of these questions.
Yeah, I really like this question that Louise asked. What are some aspects of learning in person that you think online learning struggles most to recreate? And in what ways do you think online learning can improve education?
Yeah, so I think the parts of the things that online learning struggles to create is, well, you guys are experiencing it. I mean, you go on to it, first of all, going on and just watching a Zoom lecture, that's not the best kind of online learning at all. That's just like turning a lecture, instead of standing on a stage in a lecture hall, you turn on a Zoom camera. It's like, I often say it's like going into a play and filming it and then calling it a movie. If you film a play, it's not a movie, it's a recording of a play. If you turn on a Zoom camera, it's not really online learning. It's just like a lecture that's being delivered on a Zoom camera. So good online learning looks a lot different. I hope that you're all using Coursera, because all Duke students can use all of Coursera for free. You probably know that. And you'll notice if you do use Coursera that everything's in bite-sized chunks. You can take assessments, you do projects. It's really great. You'll notice if you go through that, though, it's not really social. It's not really social. It's self-paced. It's very flexible. It's awesome. You can do peer reviews and things, but it's not very social. Now, what you don't know, unless you take a degree on Coursera, is that when we have degrees on Coursera and there are professors, we integrate Slack, we integrate Zoom, and it's way more social. So you're in cohorts, you have study groups, you do group projects. Now, you're still on Zoom. You're not in the same place. So I think it's less fun. I mean, it is collaborative. And, the other thing, too, that's really useful, as you all know, collaborative workspaces, things like Google Docs is really amazing. That didn't exist when I was at Financial Engines. Even like in 2010, it didn't exist. The ability for multiple people to work on one document didn't really exist. You have to email it around. So the ability to collaborate in the cloud is much better now. I'd say that what's kind of missing is the social stuff. So social learning is getting better. Social fun is still a little bit difficult. Now, I will say, I was with a group of Courserians last night. We were celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. We had a great Hispanic Heritage Month at Coursera. And the leadership group of our Hola ERG actually hired an artist, a guitar player in Buenos Aires. And they did a concert for us. And they taught us about tango and Buenos Aires and the origins of tango. And we made caipirinhas. And we were drinking and listening and chatting. And it was actually really pretty awesome. So, I'm not going to advocate like drinking while you are online together. But I do think that social element is kind of the piece that's missing. And was there another part of the question that maybe I missed?
I think they also just asked like kind of the flip side, which I think you've kind of answered previously with like, how online learning improves education. But
yeah, I think the flexibility, affordability, accessibility is a big part of it. Also, it can be done in smaller modules. So we already offer, when we do our degrees, you can earn them in small certificates. We call them master tracks. So you could, the MBA at University of Illinois, you could take just the digital marketing master track and stop right there if you just want to learn digital marketing. But then if you want to go and get a master's degree or an MBA, it counts towards your MBA. And then another thing that Illinois just did that's really cool is they took the first half of their MBA program and they created a Master's of Science in Management. So 1 year, no experience required Master's in Management that you can do and get a master's degree in management if you want to learn finance and accounting and all the basics of an MBA. And then if you want to go on to your second year, that master's of management turns into an MBA. So degrees are getting more modular, they're getting more flexible, they're getting more affordable as well. All right, next question. Are we doing okay on time here?
Yeah, I think we are. I think we can do maybe like this one and maybe one more. Sure. I like this question from Eric. It's just a bit fun. What are your favorite Coursera courses and have you taken any?
Yeah, so I think my favorite Coursera course, and I'm not just saying this, but the first course that I took, it's called Learning How to Learn. And it's a great course. And it's from a neurobiologist who really talks about like, how does the human brain work and how do we learn things? And then it also kind of does a little bit of like brain hacking to say, here are some strategies to help you learn more effectively. And one of the things I'll just say, since I have 3 daughters, now they're a little bit older. Lou is 23, her sister Jules is 26, and Allie is 29. But I always, and my wife Ann, we always said, you have to get your sleep. Sleep is critical. And nowadays it's, everyone's sleep is so messed up, but especially like young people who are either gaming or, online all the time. Screens aren't good for sleep. But sleep is a huge part of this. And so if you take Learning How to Learn, one of the things they teach you is your brain solves a lot of problems when you're sleeping. And they do other things that like teach you how not to procrastinate and how to remember things. And it's a great course. So Learning How to Learn is a great course. AI for Everyone is another course I've taken recently from our founder, Andrew Ng. It's a great course if you just want to hear like, what's AI all about, et cetera, et cetera. Machine Learning from Stanford is a top course. A lot of people take machine learning. By the way, if you guys want to make a little bit more money as computer or software engineers, become machine learning engineers. So do a little bit of machine learning on top of your CS degree, and there's going to be a lot of really good jobs for you. AI for Everyone won't teach you how to do that, but if you do deep learning from Andrew Ng as a specialization on Coursera, machine learning from Stanford, a lot of great machine learning stuff. There's also a great course, the last one I mentioned, that I also highly recommend to people. It's a Yale course from Dr. Laurie Santos called The Science of Well-Being. And it really talks about how do people make decisions and why do sometimes our brains trick us into making decisions that we think are going to make us happy, but actually make us unhappy. And I won't spoil the whole course, but a lot of it talks about social media and how destructive social comparisons are for people's mental health. That's one of the reasons I like so many people to take that course. So far this year, 2.8 million people have taken Science of Well-Being. And I think the world is a little bit happier because of it.
Yeah, I actually took that course at the beginning of quarantine and would definitely recommend to every college student or literally anyone. Really good course.
Awesome. Thank you.
But yeah, I think we're kind of out of time. I'm just trying to look through here's one last quick question. Let's see. Yeah, I guess maybe sorry, this is not a quick question, but I really like this question by Alina. How do you think teachers and professors feel about online learning, and how can you tackle that problem of removing that teacher-student connection?
Yeah, it's a mix. There's definitely a lot of teachers who love online learning. We started, Coursera started in 2012. Since that time, 7,000 professors, instructors have authored over 4,600 courses on Coursera now. So there's a huge number of thousands of professors who are like authoring on Coursera, and they're awesome, and the courses are great. That's not that many professors when you look at all the professors in the world. And the vast majority of them have never done anything online. And then COVID comes along and, they turn on a Zoom camera, which is, of course, what you got to do. I think that, first of all, there's a big difference between research and teaching. And a lot of professors are more interested in research. And that's great because they advance human knowledge and they create vaccines that cure pandemics and things. So research is really important. And not every professor wants to be a teacher. Many of them really want to be more on the research side. But increasingly, I think professors will realize as they experience more online learning that it just gives them more flexibility. I mean, if you can essentially productize your lecture so you don't have to get out there and say it every time, let your students learn it at their own pace, at their own time, in their own way. And then when you're with your students, talk about it, engage, press each other, challenge each other. That's just a more stimulating way to learn. So I think lectures are dead. I think lectures are all going to be productized as online courses. And then what the teachers do with students is going to be far more dynamic. That's, I think, where we're heading. In terms of how we can bridge the gap, honestly, a lot of what it is you got to just try it. I'll tell you, I was a conventional, myopic CEO who thought remote working doesn't work. And I was forced to have everyone in Coursera work remotely. And then you're forced to say, okay, let's see how this works. And then you kind of figure out, wow, like there's some really powerful ways to use this technology. And now I'm a huge believer in remote work, but it took a forced experiment before I could do that. So COVID has forced all professors to try it. I think that for many reasons, including economics, online teaching and learning is here to stay. And a great way for professors to get familiar is both to try it, but also to take courses. So we see many of our courses around the world being taken by professors who get a sense for how to do this well by actually being a student of online learning before they become a teacher of online learning. So we're making good progress.
Yeah, I think with that, it is probably time. Thank you so much. This was such an inspiring talk. I mean, people in the chat, I think, feel the same way. And I think it's really, really interesting to see the future of remote learning. I think for a lot of us who've kind of dealt with, like you said, just, your Zoom lectures, just kind of staring at a screen for an hour and a half, I think a lot of us are excited to see a more interactive and kind of the future of remote learning as well. So.
Yeah, and I'll leave you just with a thought, and maybe it'd be a little bit disturbing to some of you. Many of you will be responsible for putting a lot of people out of work. And many of you may very well use your talents to do things that could be harmful to people. I think there has never been a greater opportunity for people with your gifts and your talent to do good things in the world. And there's never been more of a threat for what bad can happen in terms of, well, privacy rights, further inequality, all sorts of things if technology is used improperly. And so I don't want to exactly do the Peter Parker Spider-Man thing, but there's a lot of responsibility that comes with the kind of talents that you're developing. And I would just implore you to realize the opportunity to do good in the world based on what you're learning has never been greater. And I hope you all sign up for some mission that you believe makes the world a better place. So thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Cool. That was really great. We actually are 4 minutes over, but it's totally fine. If there are any logistical questions that you want to ask us, please feel free to put it in chat. And otherwise, we are so excited to start hacking. I think our next event is team formation on Glimpse. Glimpse is a platform that actually some of our friends created. And we hope you have fun doing it. And yeah, again, if you have any questions, please let us know in chat and we'll stay here and linger for a little bit just to answer those.
Yeah. And definitely if you don't have a team yet, like Michelle said, Glimpse is a super cool app. You can put different labels for like maybe what you're interested in, which tracks you want to compete in, and you get matched up with like complementary people. So I believe one of our team members is starting that, or it should have started, I think. And yeah, I think someone just posted an announcement. So definitely feel free to leave this session, start hacking if you're ready, or definitely join the team. The team formation on Glimpse. But we'll stick around for another couple minutes. And if you have questions in the chat, or if you have questions, just put them in the chat. So many thank yous.
That was so sweet.
Yeah, that was awesome. And also, if you're not comfortable, oh, cool. Can you send the Google Cloud link again?
The Google Cloud link. Oh, the MLH link. Yes. I can go get that.
Okay, yeah, I think someone else is also asking for those links.
Okay.
Maybe we can also get our MLH rep to put them in the chat, or maybe if he can put a copy of the slides or something.
Yeah, he left a little bit early to handle some things behind the scenes, but here, okay, so that link goes to the Hacker Guide. We've pushed that link so much, but there is truly so much on the Hacker Guide. And there's actually, under Hacker Resources, there is a page called Sponsored Company Resources. And we have a lot of our Code for Good sponsor redeemable services that you can get from there. We hope you can put them to good use. We will get that MLH stuff to you. I will talk to JP and get him to either put the links on Discord or put the whole slideshow on Discord.
Yeah, I think one of our team members said he's going to be putting them in announcements, so definitely keep an eye out for that. Cool. Cool. Maybe we'll give it one more minute if there's any remaining questions. Otherwise, I think we'll probably end the session. And you can always post questions in the help channel on Discord, or feel free to PM one of us if you're not comfortable sharing in that channel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any other questions coming in, so I think we'll stop broadcasting. But another reminder too, we have our first round of workshops beginning in an hour, so definitely check out the schedule, and we'll be posting in announcements as well. So we will see y'all then. Bye.
Thank you for coming. Bye.